Hoshina-san! Welcome back for another round of Kaiju number 8. So, we had a little bit of a downtime. Kafka got promoted, and a kaiju out of nowhere rallied up a whole bunch of flying kaiju that are not known for teaming up with each other. Teamed up, did a sort of revealing light onto the base as Kafka walked away, and a nice little color fold. And now the invasion on the JDAF. Anyway, on the barracks has begun, and Hoshina is about to take on a kaiju. So, let's not waste any time, and let's get reading. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto, chapter 25. Kafka was shocked when he overheard what Vice Captain Hoshina was about to do. He thought to himself, "We must have one super powerful leader pulling the strings. Vice Captain Hoshina." And there was the Vice Captain standing before the kaiju as he approached very slowly with a pair of Honju right behind him. Hoshina, with his hand on the hilt of his swords, scanned and sized him up very carefully. "So, that's our kaiju, eh?" He looked nothing more like another toe jam. The kaiju cricked its neck to the side and asked,
"Who's the strongest one at this base?"
Hoshina thought, "Figure it's capable of human speech. Definitely a work of the imps." Well, seeing how the captain's out, that'd be me, he said to the kaiju.
"I see."
The kaiju stretched its arms out and flexed its muscles and cracked its knuckles.
"Then that settles it. You'll be my enemy."
And kaiju raised up its hand and put the middle finger between right before its thumb.
"You'll be my prey."
And with a little flick, Hoshina was able to dodge the mysterious bullet that flew by and struck the building, leaving a large crater. The Sniffets and the soldiers stood frozen but unfazed as Hoshina dipped and dodged as Piccolo taught him to. All the soldiers looked back in horror as they saw the gaping hole, and Okonogi spoke over the intercom. "Andrew estimated fortitude readings are in an 8.3. It's the Kaiju class, sir." "Ikuruga, come on in." "Sure." "You lead the charge against them Yoju. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure you take them devil's testicles out. Top priorities are to stop the spread of collateral damage. Don't let them become an STD. I repeat, do not let them become an STD. And keeping that main building functional." Crikey, roger that, mate. "I'll handle the Hanju so that..." And before he even finished his sentence, the Hanju, the kaiju, stood right behind him with fists raised up. All the guards stood frozen, unaware of its speed. And the kaiju screamed out,
"You dodged it, then you pass."
And threw the punch, aiming straight for the back of Hoshina's head. And as it slammed into the ground, it shattered the glass from the building and sent debris flying up into the air. And as glass rained down, Hoshina was able to pop up behind the kaiju with the Sniffet in tow, saving his life. "Yeah, this one," Hoshina said, "is one I've got to kill myself. It's time to exercise this demon." And the kaiju suddenly started opening its top lid, revealing teeth and bearing with saliva pouring out, and a weird ball in the middle.
"All right, let's get right into it and begin the extermination."
It let out a loud echo that spread across the entire complex. Every single Yoju lifted its head up and looked in the direction.
Go!
They screamed out. The Yoju are reacting, he thought to himself. Ah, so you're after the base after all. And before he knew it, with his eye turned away, a giant fist came flying right at him. He dodged, making Piccolo proud. He dodged like the Matrix, making Morpheus even prouder as the entire building shattered into pieces and debris flew into the air. Hoshina thought to himself as he watched the debris float. The punches are unreal. It strikes like a meteorite. I'm dead meat if I take one of those on the head. I'll end up being nothing more than a puke on the road, a possum, if you will. And that's when the kaiju started throwing flurries of punches, going ora 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 ora. And Hoshina continued dodging every single swing, every single swipe. And just as the kaiju threw a nice, sweet right hook, Hoshina delivered a slash as he flew up into the air. It's even harder than number 8's, he said as he floated upside down. Back at the main building, Ikuruga screamed out, "Crikey, fire!" And they started firing away every single sniffing guard imaginable, all the soldiers, as the Yoju screamed out, "Yeah!" And then they stopped and smiled.
Oh, they appear to be unscathed,
said the Sniffit.
Gwah!
The Yoju screamed out and fired a laser blast. And that caught Kafka's attention as his kaiju powers heard from the distance of
Gah!
He screamed out, "Frontal attacks won't work. Aim for the back, for their backs instead," he said over the intercom. "Those are the same type of kaiju recorded back in 03. "Senpai, it's you," Reno replied over the intercom. "Dude, it's the old timer." "I was worried since I couldn't get you on the line," Reno said. "Sorry, I was talking to the vice captain. Anyway, the back. Go for the back. The skin in the front acts as a shield while they're in flight. Their cores should be near their backs. Their backs have only minimal coating to decrease their weight." "Crikey, good going, Ibino. Alright, you might split into 2 groups, distract them from the front, start firing at their backs." "Yo, okay," Aoi and Iharu said, and Izumo said as they ran charged forward. "Comrade, I'll act as a decoy," Aoi said. "You take the rear, Haruichi." "Dude, you owe me one, Aoi." And Haruichi jumped and slid along the side of the wall of the building, and locked and loaded as he got sight of the Yoju's back. "Combat power fully unleashed. Unleash combat power 36%. And just as he was about to fire, a Yoju peered from round the corner like a stealth ninja with mouth gaped open, its teeth ready to chomp down at him. "What?" And suddenly it started gathering up all sorts of ki energy at the base of its mouth and let out flames. Haruichi jumped to the side and landed on bended knee as more kaiju started watching each other's back. "The kaiju are teaming up. Izumo. Ah, crikey, Izumo." "No good. We can't get to their backs," Haruichi said. "Ah, neither can we. No, crikey, neither can we. The kaiju are obstructing us." "No way," Kafka said as he overheard the entire conversation going on. "Well, no. What now? If we can't get back to their backs, then how do we..." And that's when they heard a familiar voice in the intercom.
Oh, there's only one way. There's one other way.
"Shinomiya." "What? Oh, wait, what way, dude?" And suddenly, at fast speed, flying through the entire complex, Kikoru zipped right by at hyper speed, leaving a shockwave blowing blowing Izumo to the side. Iharu to the side.
Oh, just help me.
She screamed out, and she swung a giant sword at sonic speed. There was a big sonic boom, and it let out a big sonic bang. And before you know it, the whole entire weapon plunged right into the Yoju's belly and went ah in pain, with blood splurted out of its mouth and guts starting to spill out of its gut. Kafka was shocked, even though he's not even there to see it. Reno is shocked as he bared witness. Aoi is shocked, even though he is very, very far away. And Kikoru flicked her ponytail and took a JoJo pose.
Ah, use my devastating power to chop through them from the front.
As she smiled with a wink in her eyes, she held a gigantic battle axe twice her size, and and as heavy as Cloud's Buster sword. To be continued. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto, chapter 26. Flashback to moments ago, Kikoru stood before the captain and vice captain as she was presented a big gigantic suitcase that was attached to a computer on a table.
Ah, a custom would happen for me. But aren't those only provided to captains?
Generally, yeah, young lady, Hoshina said. But we're making an exception based on the situation here. You see,
Ah, I got this.
Mina said.
The 42 levels and number of kaiju emergencies this year are abnormal. Since you're number 3 in combat power, here at the base, we decided to make you a part of our main force. Shinomiya, going forward, you will act as the third major force in line behind Vice Captain and Captain and exterminate the kaiju.
As the thing opened up, her eyes grew wide and her smile became big, and suddenly there she was at the present moment with the ultimate JoJo pose on top of the Yoju she killed, with a big giant battle axe that said A3AX0112. She smiled with glee at the fact that she successfully took it down with this most awesome and epic weapon.
Ah, well, this packs a decent punch for the prototype. Thought if I had to nitpick anything, I suppose it'd be that this weapon's boorish nature doesn't suit me at all.
She swung it in the air and created a shockwave. Izumo. Iharu was shocked at what he saw. Dude, I can't believe it. She took him out from the front. And as the Yoju started tromping along closer, she turned her attention to them.
Ah, as for all of you kaiju, now that I've set foot on the battlefield, I won't be running amok any longer,
she said, as her eyes deepened into bloodlust, and she pulled her axe back and winded up for the strike, and she started dashing right at it. The kaiju immediately fired a blast. Ah! It screamed out, and as it exploded, Iharu was already up in the air before it had a chance to close its mouth, and the wind-up was complete. She thought to herself,
this what happens, main material is the uno organ.
Wait. Oh, she remembered Hoshina in the flashback. Now, this weapon's main material is the uno organ from the Honju we neutralized in Shinagawa 2 years ago. Its purpose is to actually cut the toenails off and such. All you gotta do is just pull the trigger and power it up, and then you release all the shockwaves. Usage one generating a shockwave. Oh no, that's not him. This is fun. uh, and as she turned on the switch, after she remembered her instructions, a force of energy vibrated on the axe.
Usage one generating a shockwave behind itself mid-sling for acceleration.
And suddenly, a big shockwave pushed the axe down like a jet engine. It crushed the kaiju down as it screamed, and she yelled out,
"Scrogen style axe technique number 1, falling thunder!"
Suddenly, and the kaiju nearly split in half. Then she turned her attention to the charging one, coming in with its pointed head aimed at her.
Usage 2 emitting a frontal shockwave upon impact.
And she wound up her next attack and screamed,
Number 2, water schema.
And with one swift swing, the kaiju's guts spilled out. As as she finished her statement.
For added evisceration.
Holy hell, dude! Iharu said to Reno.
It doesn't suit you at all, right? Yeah, right.
Reno let out a puff as Hikaru, with spots of kaiju blood on her face, licked her lips with great joy.
As aggressive and high-handed as you can be,
Reno Thumbs said.
It's a perfect fit.
And suddenly she starts looking around, saying,
"Okay, who step up? Who's next?"
And the kaiju flying in the air dove right at her.
Yow! From above, but hang it on.
And she was ready to deliver the next wing when a burst of explosions shattered its wings and froze it over.
Freeze rounds.
The Yoju collapsed down and struggled to get back up.
On your toes, Shinomiya. They're coming from above too,
Reno said as he kept his sights on the kaiju. And the kaiju got back on its feet and screamed out,
"Yeah! You're not fighting on my watch,"
Reno said, and fired another round of ice caps, freezing its limbs.
Look at that. Never thought he'd be this good against such high-level kaiju.
And she started spinning her body like a top and swung right around the kaiju's neck.
Number 3, half moon.
And she slid backwards with one hand on the ground like an anime character.
Reno,
She said, catching his attention.
I'll allow you to back me up. If you can keep up, that is.
She looked at him with calculated eyes, and Reno nodded.
You're wrong. Okay then, we'll act as we deserves and disorganize them.
Crikey, Shinomiya's squad will split up the kaiju, Ikaruga said. Resume the operation. Split into 2 groups. Fire at their backs. And Hoshina smiled with glee, overhearing the whole entire conversation as Shinomiya screamed out, "Yeah!" All right, that young lady is doing a good job. She's working out fine. Now the real problem here is this devil's butthole. And Shinomiya jumped out of the way as the kaiju slammed its fist into the truck and completely flattened it. Shards of glass sliced into Hoshina's cheek, and he stared at the kaiju, looking back at him. This thing's gonna have to be completely exorcised. And the kaiju started swinging more and more fists at him as he dodged at high speed, swinging his sword against its tough skin. And when he ducked, There was 4 consecutive punches that left the craters on the side of the truck. "It's so strong," Okanogi said over the intercom. "Oh, that's not the half of it, woman. This thing gets a kick out of fighting. You think he's some kind of kung fu panda or something. Okanogi, open up the gate 3 for me." "Roger." And as the gate opened wide, Hoshina started jumping, back dashing towards the entrance and led it inside. "It's clearly capable of motions beyond that of a normal kaiju. I don't like that at all. He definitely needs to be killed once and for all." And as he dodged once again, the kaiju punched into the iron door that was as thick as as a 2x4 and bent it down into a cup. "Oh crap! What was the point of even opening it? That ain't cheap, you know. The door, man." And then he looked up at the bent door and realized he wasn't there. "Where'd it go? There's not many kaiju included. You can scrap with me." Oh, okay. And that's when he heard the kaiju's voice.
"There's not many kaiju included who can scrap with me."
And there it was, with its feet planted on a wall, ready to push off.
"You should feel proud of yourself. I'm going to love feeding on your sustenance. I will take your heart and make you and eat the very essence of your soul."
It lunged at the Hoshina with a powerful punch. Hoshina felt the impact, despite being able to block it, and he was thrusted across the street and into a building. "Vice Captain!" Okanogi screamed out. The kaiju, in a post Mike Tyson punch pose, lifted, pulled his arm back up and flexed it as if he was in Punch Out.
"You're really not half bad."
And his arm came off. It fell down and landed on the ground. "Sorry, Okanogi, it's urgent, so I'm keeping my request short and to the point. Here in the training grounds, I can go all out without worrying about the officers getting in the way." Okanogi's tears welled up when she realized what he had done. "Unleash maximum combat power 92%, he said in a JoJo pose, in an epic JoJo pose, with his sword behind his back and his other sword held up, aimed at the kaiju. "Alrighty, time to neutralize the devil's turd here." To be continued. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto, chapter 27. Burst of flames flew along the street, passing by all the buildings and striking whatever was within range. One of the soldiers was struggling to fire at the Yoju, and she ran out of ammo. She dropped to her knees and watched as the monster opened up its mouth and started charging up its next beam. She immediately screamed, "Ah!" And that's when Kafka comes running in. "Partial transformation," he said, dashing at such hyper speed as the smoke. He left a plume of smoke blinding the kaiju from them. He slid out. He slid back into human form, into full human form, as he rescued Minase from getting hurt. I don't have her. Minase. I never gave her. Okay, I'll give her normal. That's fine.
"Mr. Hibana, thank you,"
she said. "You're not hurt, are you, Minase?"
"Looks like you've gotten the hang of using the suit."
And that caught his attention and realized what he had done. "Well," he smiled while scratching the back of his head. "I am a general officer now, so at the bare minimum, I should." And suddenly the kaiju stood up to its feet and immediately charged up its attack.
"Mr. Hibana, behind you!"
Minase screamed out. And that's when suddenly Kafka heard a weird scream. "One swipe!" It was Kikoru who successfully swung that battle axe right into its guts and made it rain body parts and Yoju. Minase and Kafka were horrified at what they saw. Kikoru! And that's when he heard a familiar first.
Sir, are you alright?
He turned around and saw Reno behind some debris, ready to reloading his ice caps. Ichikawa.
Reno and I will draw away the Kaiju. Protect the injured in the meantime. Roger.
Roger.
Hey, Senpai.
Reno called down to Kafka.
Don't do anything reckless out there. You're a general officer now. Have faith in your squad.
And Kafka understood what he meant. To transform into Kaiju number 8 once more will definitely draw the attention of everybody, because now they're in the middle of the complex. With a nod, he replied, "You got it."
Okay, I'm off. See you later.
And Kikoru led Reno and the others in a full-scale charge on the remaining Yoju. Okanogi screamed out from the intercom, "Report! Nakanoshima platoon has arrived." Kafka turned around and saw Nakanoshima.
Oh ho ho! Sorry for the wet, Ikuruga.
Oh, sorry, she's in the mask.
Oh, sorry for the wet, Ikuruga. Morori.
Let's see here. Oh, dang. Freaking kaiju think they can run wild, eh? Also, Ebina platoon has arrived and is heading south as reinforcements. Nakanoshima brought her crew of sniffets and soldiers, and Ebina, with his bald head bulging veins and a large scar across his face and down the side of his temple, his forehead, started engaging the kaiju. Nakanoshima. Ebina. There we go. Kafka smiled and looked over at Mina and said, "Great, all the senior officers that were off duty
I've come to back us up."
She finished the sentence. I love it when they do that in anime and manga. Always gotta finish each other's lines. Okanogi continued. Shinomiya squad and Gatsuma platoon to Yoju down. Wait a second. Is that them or is that? No, I guess that is Kafka saying that. That needed an arrow. That needed an arrow. It's inside the panel. We'll have to discuss that one. Shinomiya squad and Agatsuma's platoon to Yoju down. Kafka said. Takaro platoon, Tako said. Snipers organized, commencing freeze round, sniping of airborne kaiju. Karaiki. Oh, this is. Oh, do I have his name on here? Yes, I do. Karaiki. No, that's Ikuruga. Wait, didn't I mark his name down? No, not yet. Oh my gosh, there's so many characters popping up. Sorry about this. This is Itakura platoon storehouse area secured. I'm sorry, they're all in. I didn't expect so many different names in one only. No problem. I'll just mark their names down. Kafka, as the complex map showed the what's going on with the action, Kafka thought to himself, "We're pushing them back little by little, in spite of this emergency going on without the captain here." He then turned his attention to Minase. "All right, Minase, let's hurry and get the injured to safety."
Right.
She said as she loaded up her weapon. "Man, they're so amazing. And I don't just mean Kikoru and Ichikawa either. Everyone is so amazing. Everything is awesome. Everything is awesome. And this is the division that I'm a part of. This is the 3rd division." Oshina stood before before his opponent, sort of catching his breath, staring each other down and sizing each other up. "Son, you just picked the wrong customers to scrap with. We're winning this fight, buddy. Soon you'll understand why you're the turd, and we're the pooper scoopers."
Huh?
And Hoshina just slid right underneath him. Jojo posed, and suddenly blood splurted out of the Kaiju's guts.
He did it again. Just like that strike that lopped off my arm before. He's cutting through the gaps in my shell with precision. I think that was a terrible design flaw and should have had that rectified. This guy,
The Kaiju said as blood continued splurting out of his joints and shell.
doesn't impress me.
He opened up his forehead, revealing an eye that was starting to build up electricity.
It's such a cheap little trick.
It said.
If I know what you're after, I could easily deal with it by...
And that's when he heard a string. That's when he heard Hoshina just standing still and whispered, "Hoshina's sword style, slade technique number 2, cross slasher." And that's when the Kaiju realized.
So aiming for the gas was just a diversion.
Number 4, wild slasher. He screamed. He said with a calm voice, and every single limb started breaking apart. His head fell down, guts spilled out. The Kaiju was defeated. Oh wow! Hoshina's hair suddenly raised up like a Saiyan, like a Super Saiyan, and his eyes was as focused as Vegeta.
Oh yeah.
The Kaiju said as blood splurted out of its neck opening.
This is the way a fight should be. Meeting an opponent that rivals myself.
It began regenerating as Hoshina continued slicing his way through and making each part of its body fall apart.
And trading blows with them head on. I am so happy. Rival, 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 rival.
The Kaiju continued repeating as Hoshina, like Spider-Man's his way with each attack, leaping off the wall from one side and leaping off the wall on the other side, continuing to deliver each and every slash. And before the Kaiju knew it, he delivered one quick punch, and all of his entire hand collapsed into pieces.
Huh?
"You know, that core of yours is smaller than I expected." Hoshina said as he crouched at the top of the telephone pole with the moon shining behind him, and his arms crossed with the swords aimed directly at the Kaiju. And that's when he saw it. It was a slit opening along the back of the Kaiju, and the Kaiju looked back in horror. "Number 6, 8-fold slasher," he said as he flew right past the Kaiju, and multiple slashes from crotch to head and shoulder to shoulder and side to side and cross mark, all connected perfectly. "Dada!" Okanogi threw her fist up in celebration. But when Hoshina turned around and looked, he screamed out, "No, not yet. I haven't finished the scooping you off the street. Dang it. And there it was. The kaiju getting bigger and bigger, bubbling and boiling like pus, getting stronger and stronger before Hoshina. To be continued. Kaiju number 8 by Naoya Matsumoto. That was some good fighting. That was good fighting. Lots of teamwork. That's the way. That's the way a lot of these types of shows should be doing it. Even Shonen should be doing this. You know what I'm saying? Should be doing teamwork a little better. The fights between Hoshina and the kaiju is really sweet. We get a nice little opening here with this nice little detail. Everyone dodging. Well, actually, Hoshina dodging. You get all the broken pieces and so on. As always, the old tried and true trope of just flicking the finger, like that ever works, you know. But the kaiju, this kaiju is so unique, but he's also really fast. But it really got Hoshina to truly want to go at full power, and we get to see that for real. That's pretty awesome though, seeing that big giant fist. Although it's kind of weird. It's a little weird, but I guess that's supposed to give the sense of what he was dealing with. Not literally that big of a fist. But when you see over here on the left, it's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing that Hoshina did. He just only matrix dodged it. He didn't like jump completely to the side or anything. He just leaned back hard, and you could see. The kaiju throwing that fist and just destroying yeah, the punches are unreal. It's just force. That's it. Just some crazy force power going on. Looks like Mike Tyson's Punch Out when you think about it. It really does. Little Mac dodging to the side, just like that. But it's a pretty cool display here of Hoshina's combat. Like he really gave him a chance to shine, and really show why, even though he can't do the whole gun thing, the sword play was the big draw. You know, they were kind of mocking him for doing the sword draw, but this really shows precisely why it is, you know, that he's the vice captain. Good on Kafka, of course, you know, providing information once he found out that everybody was having a hard time taking him down from the front. His experience once again coming to full swing. It's always cool to see that. It's really cool to see that. He, being able to provide information. And again, you know, if he wasn't there, they'll all be dead because they would have been too focused on wanting to get the ultimate blast of ultimate destiny kind of thing, you know, like Hikoru. But because Kafka, you know, learned again so many years how these kaiju work, it's kind of like why couldn't he get picked up on that one? You know what I'm saying, by the defense force. You know what I mean? You would think that those who do the cleanup crews, you know what I'm saying, those cleanup, because it's not just only his the team that he was with. There's multiple companies that do kaiju cleanup, and get hired to do those things. And it makes no sense to me that this agency that deals with the kaiju, that fights the kaiju, would be very dismissive of these guys. You know, you want these guys out on the field, regardless of their power level. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but you know, Hoshino was right that it's more than just, you know, pewing the kaiju away. You gotta have the knowledge. You know, having that having a person like Kafka with that kind of knowledge is a real big deal. So he doesn't have so his power is stuck at 0. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? The point is that he's sharing the knowledge, and everybody is surviving for it, for the better of it. So, you know, I just find it very weird that, you know, the organization would lean so hard when it comes to the soldier aspect of the organization to be dismissive of someone like Kafka when he's got wealth of knowledge that they can use on the field. Like, he autopsied the kaiju right there on the spot and was able to identify the issues. None of them have that kind of experience, and then we got a nice little action shot of Kikuru diving right on in with a whole new weapon, a pretty awesome weapon. Let me see here. Do they show that? I mean, this is such a great shot, man. Missed opportunity to scream one swipe on this one. I should have done that. I didn't even think of that. I thought too late, but I was able to get it on the later Kaiju. But still, I should have. I should have been like one swipe. That would have been funny. But at least I got it. At least I got it. I got on a later Kaiju attack. But this is such a wonderful money shot showing just how much power Kikuru is carrying, as well as the weapon itself and how much that thing's going. I mean, just look at that. That is an anime blood cough if I've ever seen one. Get hit in the gut and you're like, that's what the Kaiju is doing, man. It's like, and blood splurting all over the place. Man, look at the details to that. And didn't overdo it either, just kept it nice and simple, showing but her positioning shows just how much weight the axe has to it. If you notice her leg sticking out, you can really see that she put a whole lot of weight into it. Like that's not an easy thing to carry around, and to swing it required such a vast amount of force and strength on her part. It really shows it off. It really expresses it. Very good. Very well done. Very well done. And of course, she gets that little JoJo pose going. But yeah, basically that's all we got is just an all-out kaiju battles all over the place. It's pretty, but we get to learn now, because we found out that they do kaiju weapons, and we finally get to see another one in action, because we saw Hoshina's. We're seeing Hoshina's weapon. Basically, it's the kaiju weapons to shine. Now that I think about it, yeah, because before we only saw how they were using the guns, but now in this battle we're seeing how the kaiju weapons really work and how they deal with the kaiju. Very good move. That's a very good move in the story. They brought up the hype, and now we're seeing the hype in action. As we can see, Kikuru really looks awesome with that battle axe. That giant kaiju axe. 03X0112. I like that they got the code names for that. It's like a Gundam kind of thing. But look at the size of that. It's bigger than her. It's really bigger than her. And that's a really cool pose she's got going on there. Okay, now I see what it is. That's a grip. I thought it was some kind of electric power that's coming out of the hands. No, that's just her motioning the grip. She's like, yeah. That's a pretty nice little detail there. Yeah. So all throughout this, we get to see her dishing out all kinds of crazy attacks. All of her key moves, like Falling Thunder and Water Skimmer. Okay. Gotta call out your attacks. But you could really see the weight of the swings and the heaviness of the strikes. Like, it's really doing a number, and it's very well conveyed here. Nice and clear. It's very nice and clear. Very which is great. It really allowed the panel to breathe it out. Like, look at this. You can see the shockwave, and you can see it slamming into the whole thing. It's pretty good. The artwork is still solid and everything. Let's see here. But that's pretty much it. And then of course Reno stepped up and delivered the ice caps, and we get to see the two of them working together. While in the meantime, Oshina is going all out with this kaiju. This one got very well detailed. This sequence of panels here, like, look at the truck. It could have the team could have phoned it in, Matsumoto's team could have foamed it in and just, made it look all flat and everything. But it really gave a little three dimensionality when you see all of the components of the truck. You can even see the wheels traction that would make the tracks, and how in relation the craters are made. That's really extra mile stuff, and considering how small this panel is, that's impressive. It's very, very impressive, and we get more of that over here too with the door, where you see the holes, the interlocking holes on the side there, as well as more buildings to the left, and the tree or the shrub to the right, and we get to see more of the more weight to that punch. So yeah, the artwork is still stellar, very consistent, and really really amazing. Very, very amazing. With that said, there is a bit of an issue, and it happened over here in this chapter. And that's when everybody started reporting in. This was fine so far. Saying when Nakanoshima and Ebina showed up. But the issue was over here, if I remember correctly. Yes, right here. It was this here. This threw me off because I don't know if that's her talking or if that's Kafka talking. There should have been an arrow pointing if it's him. Also, don't draw Minase like that. Don't draw her like that, Minase. That was just too... That's a little too uncanny there. I don't know. That feels a little too uncanny. But back to my point here. It was easy to tell that that it was Takao platoon because it's in this panel, and Irakura platoon was in this panel. And the reason why I was thrown off was because this one here is in Kikoru's panel. So I'm thinking that's Kikoru saying that, but it's not really her. I don't think it's really her saying that. It's hard to tell if she's saying it or if it's Kafka because it's lined up with Kafka and Shinomina. It's in her panel, but it's lined up with Kafka and him pressing into his earpiece, which is pointing at the dialogue box. So I can't tell if that's him or her, and that threw me off. Threw me off my game there for a bit. And I can't stand when that happens in manga. They forget to point who's talking. One Piece tends to do that from time to time. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, we get let's see here. We get more Hoshina fight. At this point, and my man pulls out the eightfold fence here. Nicely done, nicely drawn, very interesting. With the shading down here at the bottom, but this is such a cool pose, so dynamic, and you could see the maximum spider in the background as the kaiju just stood there like, huh, what the, huh? What? But unfortunately, that didn't work either, because the kaiju's now going crazy. So yeah, this was a great action sequence. We get to see this whole thing truly is showcasing what the kaiju weapons do, what reverse engineering the kaiju and turn them into weapons do, and it's pretty freaking epic. Very well done. The drawings were good. Aside from that one panel with the dialogue, everything was nice and consistent, flowed so smoothly. The switching between the action and the dialogue, everyone coming in, reinforcements, the fights were very, very impactful. You could really feel and see, the weight of the strikes and everything. So yeah. Really good, really good. So, comment, like, subscribe, follow. You want to. And head on over to Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com and grab yourself a copy of the Impossible Man, a Strange Fantasy novel written by me. You'll find the book in the links down below, along with links to other merch such as stickers, pins, t-shirts, and music. enjoy the products, and thank you for your patronage. And if you're interested, you can join me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick, Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, until the next set of chapters, thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, a buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.